So there's been like a lot of interesting, you might call it, or scary or shocking or complaining about what's going on with video content across multiple platforms. Well, love him or hate him, some people think he's actually the Antichrist. Mr. Beast, his retention director, a guy that actually is inside of Google Analytics and YouTube, has just revealed the real reason platforms like YouTube have completely changed in the past couple of months. Now, I've talked about this. Everyone's talked about this. No one cares. Yes, YouTube revenue is down like 50%. Yes, I had to do layoffs. No, nobody cares. I get it. YouTube viewers don't care about, YouTubers' money woes because they shouldn't. We are extraordinarily lucky to do this job, and, making a little bit less to do it, I don't expect people to cry over that. But this is actually pretty interesting from Mr. Beast's retention director, and I want to go through this thread. So he blows a lid on why YouTube views are dropping off for everyone. The short answer is they're trying to be TikTok. Only recent views even count. Older content gets memory hold in the algorithm. Well, that's not exactly surprising. That's, for me, about what I expected. Okay. Important thread. The YouTube algorithm actually did change for the worse, including data. I've been thinking about a lot whether or I should not address this publicly. I've already talked to people within YouTube, but I don't believe a word of a single person, meaning me will be enough to encourage change, not at least any kind of quick change. Well, let me tell you this. A lot of, like I mentioned earlier, like, YouTuber making less money, we don't care. Like, speaking of which, you could help by getting your Christmas gifts from Coffee Brand Coffee, coffeebrandcoffee.com. Promo code HOLIDAY10 will save 10%. We have our brand new refreshed advent calendar with 20 delicious surprises, plus a K-Cup adapter in there if you don't have a K-Cup machine for our ground coffee. We have our holiday gift box all refreshed for 2025, and a 100% Kona peppermint bark and the golden scooper, all available for Christmas. Pick them up, coffeebrandcoffee.com. Go to Christmas gifts. Save your local YouTuber. But nonetheless, I have noticed this for a long time. YouTubers are talking about it privately. We know that viewers don't really care. We can't put out videos complaining about making less money. But there is a real reason that it's happening, and now we know. Before I begin, a direct note to all my friends at YouTube. I truly respect what you've been doing in the past year, and I know you'll take this problem seriously, but I'm also aware that you'll often have your hands tied, and there isn't much you can personally do. I won't reveal any sensitive information that people can't find out by themselves. Let's begin. A few months ago, creators of all sizes noticed a significant change in the overall performance of their channels. I can confirm this. Usually this is related to the overall behavior of audiences. However, this one felt different. It wasn't just one or two channels. It was every single channel I was working with and more. These are channels that pull in 100 million to 1 billion views per month at times. I feel like I should follow this guy. At first, I was like, all right, let's find out where we're going wrong. Maybe we're missing something. However, after weeks and months of no answers were found, this is very frustrating. Not only for myself, but also for the creators who are relying on these answers to maintain their channel businesses and livelihood. But that's when we made the breakthrough. A way of looking at data that we had missed. You see, this entire time we were analyzing the channel as a whole, new and old videos combined. However, we weren't focused on isolating older content, specifically content with a published date older than 1 month. Now, I don't consider videos that are a month old as being old, especially if you're a channel that creates evergreen content. I cover news. So in my case, a video that's maybe a month old, I still, let's say like 10, 15% of my videos evergreen, dunking on stupid SJWs or, entitled women or this, that. But there are stuff that's like, breaking news that won't really be breaking next month. For example, I put out a video about, a Fauci reveal today that probably won't be that relevant in a year, or maybe it will. This is where for the first time we noticed something unusual. We saw a complete crash in short form views on older content less than 1 month. What we found was that somewhere in the middle of September, YouTube had pushed a significant change to their short form algorithm, which impacted nearly every short form creator across the platform. Why is this a problem? Because it affects every creator we all care about. It didn't matter if you're a small creator or one of the top 10 creators. We haven't found any people who were spared. I'll leave this brief explanation at the bottom so you can check your own channel. And these weren't just entertainment or educational creators. It was both. We found that YouTube seems to have implemented a change that strongly prioritized content uploaded in the last 28 days. But what does this impact have? Why do I believe this is something that should be brought to light? Well, first of all, I'm going to tell you that this is going to incentivize AI slop. This is going to incentivize more AI slop channels. Like, undoubtedly, we're going to see a massive influx of AI slop garbage because they're just going to keep uploading and re-uploading the same videos over and over again. The first impact is we're seeing a shift away from quality to quantity. Often creators live off revenue generated, not just AdSense, but from these bigger content pieces. A strong portion of this revenue comes from their back catalog, meaning older content. With this change, you're increasing the importance of high volume uploads in the first 30 days. What I do believe is happening, which I do believe is happening and why this change is what we're going through. I believe there are two reasons why YouTube is pushing this change. First, to hit certain targets with shorts. Plain and simple, I don't believe that this is what is best for the creator type of play. It feels more like we want to compete with TikTok type of play. Not unreasonable, even if the creator gets hurt in the short term. I'm just trying to think from a corporate point of view. The second reason, which is what I believe the actual leading reason, is a push for recency, freshness, or novelty, whichever term they would choose to use. But for this reason, there's a massive overcorrection happening. This content needs freshness. Some content, like news, streaming highlights, medical information. However, this just is not true of all types of content. Some content from years ago is just as good as it is today. We have noticed that certain top content pieces, individual videos, still get a significant amount of views, so it looks more like prioritization than anything else. Regardless, while in private I find it fun to refer to these situations as the flattening, in reality, this is a very concerning moment that their simple ideas turn into a massive hit toward the creator economy. It's just like this, and it's the tip of the iceberg of changes that have been affecting people. It's important that changes on this platform aren't just focused on the consumer, but preservation of healthy creator economy that allows creators to grow their business teams and create better content. I talked about this. My team was actually growing. My team was growing up until this year. I had 2 video editors. I had a social person. I was growing my live stream. I had 3 full-time employees, 4 full-time employees just for the live stream. And all I've been doing over the past 3 months is laying people off because things got so bad and just we're not improving. This explains it. This explains that kind of the bottom line revenue that I had on my channel, which was kind of always keeping a baseline, not bottom line, but like a baseline revenue, it just disappeared. Without a focus on both the creator and consumer, you'll quickly run into an issue of low quality slop that makes people go elsewhere. I agree. If there's a call to action here for you, whether you're a creator or a viewer, I strongly encourage you leave your thoughts here and encourage YouTube to rethink this decision. I don't think YouTube's going to care. YouTube's not going to care. I've already told my wife, like, I'm in a very good position, and if I lose, I lost probably 45 to 50% of my revenue this year. As long as I only lose, 10, 15% of my revenue for the next 5 years, we've basically switched to a saving mode, save up for retirement, minimize costs, cut back, maximize money in the bank. And that's what we are. It's the account now becomes a cash cow. I can't invest anymore. I can't hire more people unless this changes. Now, I could be foolish and think that, well, YouTube's going to give a damn about me and they're going to correct this mistake, but that's literally never happened in history. My YouTube career is longer than 99.8% of YouTubers. That's just true. Most people aren't around this long, or at least, you know, making a living off it. A lot of people with hobby channels and stuff, sure, they've been around a long time, but very few people have been at this longer than me. I was around when you had to have 10,000 subscribers before you could even have a custom banner. And you wouldn't even make any money. It was just getting that banner was the big deal. Now, I've left out some sensitive information. However, if you want to check it yourself, go to Analytics, click on Advanced, filter content by Shorts, for example, filter by publish date for the last 365, and look at the change happening around September. I think you can imagine why it took us so long to figure out where the issue began. Look at this drop. It's absolutely catastrophic. Now, I can't really see how many views this is. It's kind of blurry. This looks like in the millions, but basically had gone from, I can't really tell. It's blurry probably on purpose, but it's completely bottomed out in September. And that's basically what happened to me. September, but really October, November, late September, October, November are usually the months where I make the year. You know, January through March, you basically break even. You know, summer, you make a little bit of money, and all the money I would make would be October, November, December. That was my salary for the year. Now, I'm making less in December and November than I was in July. So it's just not going to get better. You know, it's just, I think that, you see, we were at 2 billion views monthly, and that has significantly dropped since September, despite per video metrics improving. That's exactly what I think long form video too is also having this. I first noticed it with MLA views about 6 weeks after There Was a Strange Job. You know, I don't know, you know, but this is all bad. You know, I haven't seen this to be true in my long form videos. In fact, I've seen some very old videos take off again for no reason. I can't say that that really has happened for me, but this is bad. And I think it's important that we have this kind of data, and you can either complain about it or you can decide you want to be an AI slop channel. I don't think I want to be an AI slop channel, boys. And so I'm willing to, you know, go down like Captain Jack Sparrow as I sail into hopefully a safe harbor as the boat sinks. I've been doing this too long, 15 years almost. And I just don't want to be an AI slop creator. And so when it finally does end, when the ride finally does end, it's going to be okay. And this data kind of confirms it. You know, I used to get 5-10 million views a month on shorts, and it wasn't a lot of money, but it was enough to, like, you know, pay one of my video creators or something like that. You know, and this, between massive demonetization, 21.5 million YouTube channels being deleted, it's a rough time to be a creator out there. And now we have data to back it up. Yikes.